Hey guys, James here with Waterford Business Solutions. And as strange as it is to say, it's 2026. We're now, almost 3 full weeks into 2026. And time is flying by, at least for me. And that means we've come to our favorite quarterly tradition. Well, some of our favorite quarterly traditions, which is taking a look back at the performance of different sectors and different industries and how everything is running, what it's looking like, and providing observations for how the home service trades and businesses are performing as a whole, taking a look into HVAC, electrical, plumbing, handyman and cleaning services, or other services like that, even going into looking at building, and then proceeding into what we think we're going to see going into Q1 of 2026. Now, starting off, taking a look at the HVAC industry, overall, we did have a pretty tepid Q4 for them. It was a very mild winter through much of the Southeast, and even when we go over into the Midwest, Southwest, even areas like Utah, Colorado, they really didn't have hard freezes. Many of the places didn't even have a lot of snow come in, which is highly unusual for this time of year, creating, a very tepid winter. We did have some cold snaps in December, but overall it did create a very slow Q4 for most of our HVAC clients. And we are seeing, honestly, a continuation of what we've seen throughout 2025 of a slowdown in year over year sales for our HVAC industry clients. Their 2024 was better than 2025. We're still kind of seeing that continuation of the more interest in going ahead and doing repairs instead of installs, which is helping to keep those sales low. But we did see a bit of a bump from some people who are installing some more high efficiency units due to the ending of the phase out of those tax credits that exist for clients or for customers, since that did end at the end of 2025 there on the HVAC side. Going into, I'm going to kind of group electrical and plumbing together. We overall saw a good October and a good beginning of November for most of those clients, but definitely a pretty big teeter off towards the end of November and definitely into December there. Now, this isn't unusual. There's almost always going to be a lull here for those industries as we get into the holiday months and everything like that, because while there are a lot of parties and things going on, most of the time people are getting that fixed earlier on before the parties start, and once we get into December, everything's already fixed and everything's already good to go. So, unsurprisingly, we saw kind of that same trend. Now, they're still performing pretty much exactly where we saw them perform in 2024, so we're not seeing nearly the same decrease in services as we did with the HVAC side, which is definitely a good thing, but it's not anything that clients are seeing massive year over year growth unless they are in a big growth push in the first place. Now, one area that, somewhat unsurprisingly, we saw a good deal of uptick in growth in is going to be in the handyman services, house cleaning, interior house cleaning at least, those areas, because due to those holiday parties, due to everything going on there, everyone has that checklist for, the in-laws are coming in, or they want to bring in the maid or the house cleaner to go ahead and keep everything clean for the party. So we did see a decent uptick in services relating to those industries. Now, that's fairly typical for this time of year, so no surprise there. But other ancillary services like landscaping, exterior house washing, and flat surface cleaning, different areas like that, definitely not doing nearly as well as what we have seen, but that's, again, fairly typical during that kind of more winter months. Those kind of die off a good bit once we hit September, and we don't see those picking back up until we get into March, April for spring cleaning. So not really a huge surprise there in any way, shape, or form. we are actually starting to see a little bit of a rebound in the custom home building area. We're starting to see some more custom homes being rolled out. We're seeing some more people being interested in buying those homes or building those homes, just because, once again, we did see another interest rate decrease from the Federal Reserve. So it is starting to open up a little bit more housing market and sincerity in that housing market. It is highly dependent on really where you're living. We're not seeing much movement in those areas in the Northeast, but definitely in the Southeast, Midwest, we're seeing a lot of increases and a lot of rollout of custom home building. So it's nice to start to see a little bit of that return with everything, as long term that should start to trickle down to our other trades here with HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. Now, pausing and taking a quick look into the future. What are we going to see here in Q1 of 2026? Well, the crystal ball is never fully accurate. We've had a really tumultuous 2025. HVAC has been super highly weather dependent. It's also been super price conscious. Same thing, plumbing and electrical. We're seeing a lot less new installs, a lot less new big projects, and a lot more just maintenance side things. And even our ancillary services like cleaning and landscaping and handyman services, there's been a lot less interest in people due to the tightness of money as a whole. Quite frankly, we're probably going to continue seeing that throughout 2026 here. Economic times aren't a situation where you snap your finger and everything turns around and we're back to a big, beautiful, amazing day. It is something that takes months, if not years, to turn around. And we have started to see that turn around in 2025. I think with HVAC, we're going to continue seeing price-conscious buyers, especially with the fact of we no longer have the tax credits. We also are pretty much fully rolled out into the new refrigerants, so units are going to be more expensive there. So I definitely recommend clients to make sure more than ever that they aren't just out there selling the creme de la creme and selling the Trane, the Lennox, the high-end Carriers, units, anything like that. Make sure that you do have an entry-level brand, maybe even something lower than Goodman. That's something that we've seen a lot of rollout. Is a lot of clients used to use Goodman or American Standard or something like that as their entry-level brand, but now we've started to have a even lower entry-level brand, so that you do have your good, better, best still, with your good being your standard entry-level brand. But if a client is too price conscious or anything like that, we have that unlisted third option for any type of installs to help keep conversion of clients and keep your work up. Same thing on electrical and plumbing. Really focus a lot more on that service side, because we're not seeing nearly as much in the big rewires, replacing breaker panels, breaker boxes, install of generators, install of whole home filtration systems. Those are definitely down a lot here. And at least in Q4, I see that continuing. Financing is going to be another big one, that the companies who are able to offer good financing are going to be able to get more jobs. But just be cautious with that financing. If you're offering 0% financing to your customer, someone is going to be paying that rate. So just because you offer that 0% financing, more than likely it's going to come out of what your take home is. So make sure you're tracking how much your vendor fees are and your financing fees are, so that you can properly account for those when you are selling units. Q1 is always fairly slow for cleaning, for landscaping, for handyman services, for exterior cleaning, and I really don't see that being a difference this year at all. It's a lot of people have spent most of their money here at the end of Q4, celebrating the holidays, getting Christmas gifts, so we are going to see the typical cash-strapped January, probably into February. And until we get into that March spring cleaning, and or when tax returns start to come in here in April, we're probably going to see the fairly typical low sales in those areas, I really don't see that changing at all. So definitely, if you're in those industries, go ahead, buckle up, batten down the hatches, reduce everything that you can, at least for these next 2 to 3 months. For the normal industries and everything, again, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, obviously make sure that we're watching labor and everything there, keeping that in check. You'll probably see some either break even months or maybe even some slight loss months. Not unusual unless we get for HVAC a nice good chill. But I'm recording this video on January 9th, so at least where I am in the Southeast, we haven't had that in January. And it can get pretty cold here in Greenville. So I don't see us getting that big winter chill like we've seen in the past. For the custom home building and our home builders in general out there, this quarter, again, probably not going to get a ton of new projects coming in, but I do think based off of what we saw at the end of Q4, getting yourself out there, starting to see those projects and everything should give you a good kickoff to Q2 of 2026. Because we work with so many contractors all over the home service industry and the building industry, we do get to see a wide spectrum of location, services, and weather and how that affects industries. And that's how we're able to report out and provide these videos. We do this on almost any video we post on YouTube. So I do invite you to go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications because we put out videos just like this every single Monday. If you need help or if you want someone who understands your industry to help you better understand your finances or prepare for the edge seasons or the slower seasons, don't hesitate to reach out to us here at Waterford Business Solutions by giving us a call at 864-351-0852 or shooting us an email at info@waterfordbusiness.com. As always, guys, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll talk with you next week.